I'm gonna go live in a minute. Well, shit, I'm live now. But just wanted to go live and give the opportunity to talk to the people. I'm in Pasadena, California right now. It's quiet, chilling, relaxing. I think UCLA's playing at the Rose Bowl or something. It's a lot of traffic, but it's not the same as LA right now. Something going on at the Coliseum. Stuff going on in Inglewood, man. It's a lot of traffic. So, all right, man. Shit. I talk, y'all talk back. I know a lot of people wondering what happened with the homeboy half ounce. He got killed. A lot of rumors going around. The dude that was with him shot him. It's just not the case, man. The dude that was with him actually shot back. The police got a hold of him and they let him go. They know he's not the killer. Um, you know, if that could be the first thing that I bring out, that the area for people who might know LA a little bit and know that LA has a lot of houses and a lot of places to park, but that area down there called Koreatown, it's a lot of apartments. So you figure 3, 4 cars in one apartment, and each building got 30 to 60 apartments in the building. There's absolutely nowhere to park. Half ounce got killed on 7th in New Hampshire. That's Koreatown. New Hampshire's not far from Vermont. So back in the days, in the 70s and 80s, it was a nice part of town. But in the 80s, a lot of people started moving there over there that wasn't Korean. So that part of town is the MS-13. But just south of there and just east of there is the 18th Streets. So a lot of people say, oh, the MS-13s didn't want to see him over there. MS-13s don't have issues with black people. Not that I know of. I deal with them every day. So I just want to stop the rumors. I don't know who killed Half Ounce. That was my partner. Uh, we did a movie together, me, him, Compton Menace, Mitchie Slick, a few other, Slink Johnson, a few other people was in this movie called Baby Gangster. And we did that about 5 years ago. And it was a good movie, man. It talked about how a lot of people think that the OGs in LA, a lot of the gang rumors and perception is that OGs get a youngsters a pistol and tell them to go shoot something, pop something. And this movie talked about how they got OGs in the community that got relationships and start calling each other like, hey man, how can we make this stop? How can you talk to your side and I talk to mine? So me, Half Ounce, Mitchie Slick, Slink Johnson, a whole bunch of other people, Compton Menace, we all uh, played in that movie. We all kind of played ourselves, you know what I mean? Like um, Half Ounce got into it, somebody beat him up, took his chain, he dropped a pistol in the movie. This is the movie, not his real life. And Mitchie Slick was mad. He played the big homie, and Compton Menace was pumping him up. You guys look for it on YouTube or Google Baby Gangster, the movie. And Compton Menace was pumping him up, like, man, we got to go get these dudes. And my role, I came through in the alley, and I was like, hey, man, think about it, man. The one thing that your mama and your sister need when they wake up in the morning is for you to be alive, not dead, not in jail. And so they put that in the movie. Uh, but in real life, Half Ounce, Half Ounce got killed last week on 7th in New Hampshire. It wasn't a movie. It was real life. Um, you can find the movie by Google it on YouTube, Google it on Google, whatever. I mean, search for it. Baby Gangster the movie. Matter of fact, you can www.babygangsterthemovie.com and see how you can get it. But there's a movie with Mitchie Slick, Half Ounce, Slink Johnson, Compton Menace, myself. A lot of other people too. Some of the people in the movie have even died. Uh, Junebug from 30s was in the movie. He had a brief part and he's gone. Half Ounce is now gone. And that's why the movie was done, so that we didn't lose anybody else. So nobody else would be the dead homie. So, all right, I'm going to be on here about 20, 30 minutes, man. Y'all ask me questions. I don't know nothing about Mad Ronald's case. If y'all want to know about Mad Ronald, I haven't heard from him. He hasn't called me. Um, I do have his his booking number. I'm gonna put that up here. If y'all want to write Mad Ronald, I just came back from Georgia. Um, I did not go see him. I think it'd be best if I don't. Aviation Drive. Trying to see what y'all got going on this Saturday evening for some, Saturday afternoon for others. 235 Aviation Drive. He's in Thomaston, Georgia. I was in Athens, Georgia last week. I had a ball. Even though there was a dude that told me about the rattlesnakes and the gangs they got in Albany, Georgia. They got some. They had Pyrus, but he said they gone. Um, so they got the 30 Crips out there. But they said he was an expert and I need to go to his class. So I went to his class and I learned about all that. Yeah, I didn't even go to ATL. I didn't even go there. Yeah, I didn't go to Atlanta. I did. I went to East Point. I'm sorry. I did. I went to go see my cousin who's out there. We went to the Longhorn or whatever that restaurant is. Um, but I went at nighttime. I got there about 8:30, 9 o'clock. As soon as I ate, I turned around, went back to Athens, which is an hour and a half. I drove an hour and a half to sit there for an hour to drive back another hour and a half. But just to see my cousin, and he just came out here, and I seen him out here in LA. But I didn't go to Atlanta because Atlanta is just like Compton. You know, Denver is just like Compton. Chicago, and I can't keep saying Compton because Compton has slowed down a bit, but South LA and all that, we all the same. And I don't want to. Man, I don't know. I'm gonna stop what I'm talking about to answer Josh Stick. I can't even say your name, but let me tell you, the reason I do this work right now is because I lived in Compton. I lived in Park Village in the Sunny Coves, and I went to the gas station on Wilmington and Rosecrans, and I looked at the wall, and I saw where they had crossed each other out, and they put up each other's names. I'm talking about the treetops and the fruit towns. They put up each other's names and whacked it out. It was not about just gangs; it was about individuals. And this is 2000, and I was fresh out of jail, so it's 2005. I got out January 21st, 2005. So somewhere in there, February or March, that's when I seen that. And I was like, man, I got to do something. How can I stop it or whatever, right? And I know like two, three people from each side, but not the whole neighborhood. Well, since that time, now I know damn near half of the Fruittown Pyrus, where I only knew about, a few. I knew the Cox family, Big Dave, Ducky, Jackie, said Dime Juan, people, my age group or whatever. But now I know so many more. I know so many more. And let me tell you that I'm cool and I could walk through Compton on either side. I could walk through the Fruittown or the Treetop. But as soon as I start talking about come to the table and bring peace, I ain't gonna be able to walk through there like that. I ain't gonna be able to stop and get gas. I'm telling you, good stuff. That is probably the hardest thing I've ever thought about. I done helped bring a whole lot of people together. Crips and Bloods, Crips and Mexicans, Bloods and Mexicans. Done brought them together Telling you right now, man, I ain't about to risk my life with the fruit towns and the treetops. I had some guys from the prison call me on the Mexican side. 13-year-old girl got shot. 14-year-old girl, and she got killed. And they said, look, we're going to take this as a loss. She don't gangbang. Her family don't gangbang. And what happened was they said, man, sit us down with the fruit towns. And so I'm calling all the fruit towns, and I was told to stop calling. They said, man, there's this one dude that said, if y'all go to sit down with them, if y'all listen to anything that Skipp talking about with that piece, uh, I'm gonna do something to you. That's what he was telling the little youngsters over there. So I'm sitting there trying to figure out how can we go around him. How can we? So I'm calling his family members. I mean, I'm talking about people he close to, and they were saying, Skipp, go around him. Stop dealing with him. Go around him. It's the hardest challenge, the hardest task. I appreciate that. Those are the type of questions I want to answer. So Josh Sticks, yeah, so you know I can't see good. Falter, yeah. Yeah, man, I'm on your side with that, man. That's the one thing I would like. Matter of fact, I talked to Bandana the Rag this morning. My guy Bandana, man, and he's from Fruittown. And shit, he's out here today. He moved away, but he was like, man, that's one of the hardest things to get is the people who don't want to listen to listen. And then, of course, they get violent. So I'm a peacemaker. Do I give up my violence and say, man, shit, let's have a shootout or let's get down over peace? You know what I mean? Because I mean, if I win, they gonna want to shoot me, and if I lose, shit, man, it's one thing getting angry, you know, but shit, I gotta protect who I am at this point, and who I am at this point is not getting angry because people don't want to live, and the life I'm saving is theirs. I want to save their life, but shit, some of them don't care. They want to keep that image. They want to keep that male bravado, like, oh, we ain't no get along, whatever. And so shit, it is what it is, you know. Shit, you know, I wish I could make a change. I'll say slipping was low down on somebody that got bullied around the hood. It seems, according to many. Low down was not a non-factor. Low down was not from 20s. I don't know where they got him from. Let me tell you, I'm 58, man. I hung out with the dudes my age. I hung out with the younger dudes. I stopped hanging out. Shit, I stopped hanging out in about 96, 97. But that ain't mean I ain't go around. I'm still going around. 1996, 97, man, that dude wasn't there. And that thing was filmed. Slipping with the Bloods was filmed in 92. I don't know if y'all can see how skinny I was in that. Had the bald head. I just cut my hair, had the fade, had them glasses with that colorful shirt on. I was making money driving Corvettes, but I was in the hood every day. And Lowdown was not from the hood. K Man was from the hood. The Lowdown we have, little short, dark skinned dude, he drive trucks. So if y'all ever meet a dude named Lowdown, he's gonna be driving trucks all through the United States. He's the real Lowdown. Dig Dug hit me up the other day. He was from the hood. He was the DJ for the Club 20s back in the 90s. Um, we had another dude named KK. Um, the oldest KK, he's around, but young KK was killed by the sheriff department. He was killed in the LA County Jail. So it's like, yeah, I didn't know that dude, but before he died, my homeboy Big Byron, Big B died. Big B was responsible for Ty Dolla Sign, Mustard, and all them hooking up with YG. Joe Moses came from my camp, but went over there with them as well and was working with them. Big B was real big in the music industry, and before he died, he showed me a picture. He said, "Look who I ran into in Hollywood." I'm gonna find that picture and I'm gonna post it. Maybe sometime this weekend. But low down, slipping with the Bloods. I can't tell you where he lived. I can't tell you nothing about him. I know Jumbo. Jumbo is not Jimbo. So if y'all saw that, Jimbo is small. Jimbo never weighed over 150 pounds, 160 pounds. Jumbo was almost 300. Jumbo lived in the 30s but didn't gang bang. So a lot of that, where the uncle was smoking crack and all that, that was done in the 30s. It wasn't done in the 20s. So there go. Um, where did your family migrate from? Shit, my father's family came from Georgia to Louisiana, Arcadia, Benville Parish, Lucky, Shreveport. What is that? I forgot the name over there by Grambling. Um, I forgot the name of that out there in Louisiana. My family from Louisiana. After the slaves was free, my family went to Louisiana. My father's side. My mother's side, they come out of Texas. My mother's grandfather had a cemetery in Houston, Texas, and they took it from him. I forgot the name of it. His name Will Greer or something like that. Fox Barker was her grandfather. She's part indigenous. Uh, I got a family in the trees and the nutty blocks. Man, that's sad to say, but I guarantee you, if I go into the nutty blocks, yeah, my camera messing up. If I go into the nutty blocks, I guarantee you, man, I got a lot of love over there. But if I go get the fruit towns and the treetops, man, I'm telling you, man, they gonna probably run me up out of there. Question about slipping. Uh, it's crazy how fast they start out there, and we're extremely curious about Crips and Bloods and whatnot out here. Yeah, proud of you. I appreciate that. Yep, I'm damn sure working with the community. Um, Posted a video of Munchie being AD. 60s IF still need you trying to mend relationships. I'm going to share something with y'all that I didn't want to share. I'm going to tell y'all something that I really didn't want to share because I don't want nobody to fuck it up. But in February, we sat down and ate. I posted a picture of it. Munchie B and Pretty Boy and Ron Ron. I think I had Bandit in the picture, and I can't remember else who was with us. But anyway, there ain't been no killings. There ain't been no shooting since then. They're not killing each other. And before, what's the homie name? Before Firebug went to jail, Lil AD invited him over, not just to where he was at, but in his hood, deep in his hood. So Firebug, mama had died. And he was grieving on Instagram, about to throw a party for himself because he had to go turn himself in. And little AD said, man, my mama died. And I ain't got over it. Come over here. And he was embraced. When Firebug got into the 60s, he was in the heart of the 60s with all of them, and he was embraced by him. That was about 2, 3 months ago. But as of February, man, them dudes ain't fighting no more. That's a war that was 50 years long, and they ain't fighting no more. And shit, I mean, it's big, it's major. So yeah, let's not take that lightly. But shit, I don't want to brag on it because as soon as I brag on it, somebody gonna go right on the walls like they did about a month ago. Gotta take that shit down. But man, it's serious. It's serious that they not even killing each other and shit, man. I appreciate the time that we in from February to shit October 8th. That's major, man. Yeah, there's been shootings over there. Yeah, the little homie from '60s just got killed. Blue, Ray Ray. I'm trying to think of his street name, Avenue Money or something like that. Um, One of my cousins, my daughter's cousin, was his best friend growing up. So yeah, he just got killed, but it wasn't in the '60s, and it wasn't by Inglewood and all that. He got killed closer to the east side. So people still dying or whatever, but at least it ain't a war between them right now. So uh, that's good. We gotta keep bringing peace to the conversation. If we got more people talking about peace than we do talking about shooting and killing each other, we're gonna be better off. Talk about Western Avenue between Jefferson and Adams. Shit, back in the days, I used to be over there. I had a girl stayed right next to my homegirl Charlene, and then we used to live at that corner house. Her, Stacy, all them, they got the same grandmama. So there was a house right before there. What is that? It's probably about 28th Street. And I used to be in that house all the time with the girl Tasha, Green Eye Tasha, was the manager at McDonald's. Then the homeboy Crazy Eyes, his sister, used to be down the street with this other girl, I forgot. That's the same block that G Kev got killed on, same block G Kev lived on. It's a lot of people, but I mean on 28th, not on Western, but um, yeah, Western, they trying to make it a host road, but So one thing I can say about the 20s, man, they so thirsty. They done robbed all the hoes and pimps. They ain't coming over there no more. I mean, that's a good thing. It's a bad thing, but it's a good thing. They not gonna make Western not down there like they do Figueroa. They gonna get robbed. Um, and it ain't because they all gangsters, because they on drugs, man. They want to take your money to go buy some drugs. I mean, part of it is gangster. To rob a pimp is definitely gangster, but man, don't come in the 20s with your prostitutes, because them youngsters gonna see a ticket. Uh, you have Matt Ronald stories. Shit, Matt Ronald. Matt Ronald went to jail, man. Matt Ronald used to be up in the middle of the night, so I used to drive tow trucks. So I'd be listening to the radio, and I'd hear Matt Ronald um, on KJLH radio, which is Stevie Wonder's station. And I'd be proud of him. I'm out here towing cars at 4 or 5 in the morning, and he's having an intelligent conversation with radio personalities. And I was like, man, that's my guy. I'd be wanting to call in, that's my homeboy, this and that. But he was out there selling drugs, man. I'm talking about like 2001, 2002. And yeah, he ended up going back to jail, man. So I would always kind of miss Ronald. Even in '84, we were supposed to be partnering up on some bad shit, selling drugs at a house on LaSalle. And shit, he went to jail. So I went my way, and I ended up 85, 86. I went to jail, went to prison. So, me and Matt Ronald just really became really tight after he got out in, I don't know, I think it was 2009 or somewhere in there. He got out, and I was helping to put together meetings at Bobby Broham House um, in the backyard. If y'all ain't never heard of Bobby Broham, before there was a Bo Taylor or anybody else who was bringing peace, Bobby Broham would use his backyard to bring 20s and 30s and 40s, whoever wasn't getting along, he'd bring them to his backyard. I just met his son this week. I think Thursday I met his, or Wednesday I met his son. And I said, brother, I spent a lot of time in your backyard. But yeah, Matt Ronald came home and hit the ground running 2009, and he started. We were already meeting with the 30s, but he jumped in and started taking over, and he started doing intervention and all that. So yeah, Ronald, straight G, shout out to Texas. And you asked talk about Western Avenue. That's what's up. What happened to Malik show? I called the Peacemaker. Let me tell y'all about Malik, man, and y'all can tell him I said it, man. Malik shouldn't have did that. And I think Ice-T gave him the money for it. So number one, the reason why Malik shouldn't have did it, y'all probably already know that Squeak Rue. Think about that last name, Rue. He's true to Pyru. He's not from Inglewood family. So he's been in Inglewood for years. I think he moved out here from Florida. Squeak Rue is my partner. His brother is G Love from Queen Street. So they had Squeak Rue with Bisco and Rod Dog, and they tried to make it as if they were bringing the Inglewood families and the Queen Streets together. Like if Malik didn't do that, it wouldn't happen. But let me just share with you that I had a meeting at Rogers Park in Inglewood, and everybody told me it ain't gonna work unless you get the Jones brothers. Who are the Jones brothers? That's Rod Dog, Bisco, Baby Buntree, and Snugs. So I got all four brothers right here, and I'm like, man, y'all not dead, y'all not in jail. What would make y'all give that up? And Snug said, if these dudes shoot up my mama house again. So so it was something, and they was telling me who the gunner was, and so I called the gunner's daddy, and the gunner's daddy was like, I'm having him call you. About 2 hours later, he called. I said I'm at the park. He came in the park and said it's over. I'm through. I ain't doing this no more. And that was with the Queen Streets and the Inglewood family, and it was probably about 7, 8 months before they filmed that for TV. So it had already been over. That war had already been over. The Queen Streets agreed. The Inglewood families agreed. The Inglewood family showed up 30 deep. The Queen Streets had about 12, 13 people, and they took major losses. So I think to do that just for the camera was not right. Got a lot of love and respect for Malik because he was doing this way before I was. But Malik wasn't born and raised in Inglewood. He wasn't born and raised in LA. And see, I was not just LA, but I was in Inglewood. So I got what you want to call it. My grandmother moved there in '73, so I want to say history, but I got skin in the game, if you want to say that. I got, I got a daughter. My daughter and son went to Inglewood High. My daughter grew up in Inglewood because I said her mama grew up in Inglewood. So I lived in Inglewood for years. So it was, I just think that that was wrong, what Malik did with that show. And I don't know where it went or why they didn't bring it back. I think he could have did a lot of great work, and I would like to support him in doing the great work. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't want to make something just for the camera, just for TV. Mom and her parents, big brother moved 22, 26, 1950. Damn, yeah, 1950. That was a long time ago. Is Ash Bass from 20s? I think Ash Bass, if I'm not mistaken, she's not from 20s. She's from NHP. I have to check. That's my son in them age. Ash Bass. I really don't know. I know who she is, but no, I don't think she's from 20s. I think she's from not NHB, but NHP. So let me tell you, I got a homeboy, another homeboy. They throwing rocks at each other. One of the homeboys is from Pyru. And the other homeboy is from Rolling 20s. So the homeboy whack, walking between them while they having a rock fight at the railroad tracks, and they told him to pick a side. Either you gonna be from NHB or you gonna be from Pyru. And he said, I'm from both. Fuck it. He started throwing rocks at both of them. He wasn't no punk at all. Whack ain't no punk. Start throwing rocks at both of them. Said, I'm from NH, but Pyru. And they joked around, laughed with it, and that's, how the Pyru started. So that was 81, 82, somewhere in there. And so we the same neighborhood, really. It's just the B and the P, but we throw up the hood the same. We grew up together. Everybody in Inglewood would be in the 20s. Everybody in the 20s would be in Inglewood at NHP functions. So I can't say she ain't from 20s. I'm just going to say that I don't know that to be true. She might be from NHP, but ain't no different. I got a homegirl who's from both, you know, Lady Bo. She's Lady Bo after Jimbo from 20s, but she's from NHP. But it's so ain't nobody ever tripped off of that. We ain't never had a fight, ain't never argued, none of that. And if we did, it was settled like within an hour. What about T Bone and Stan? Definitely, of course, I know Stan the man. I'm trying to think T Bone. I can't think of who that is. I know Q Bone. Rest in peace. Where's Malik from? I think Malik is from Detroit, Chicago, Cleveland. He's from somewhere in the Midwest, and he moved out here when he was younger and got directly into work. So I don't want to get it twisted. I definitely respect the work that Malik did coming out here. So don't get it twisted. I just don't respect him convincing. And I told Squeak Roo, why you do that, man? But yeah, I don't respect that. Do the Peblos and villains ever speak? Yes, they do. They done met twice. Y'all know Cynthia Nunn, Marcus Nunn, sister. Um, I had an office there, and when I moved out, well, she moved in Compton. So we used that as a place to bring people together. And one of the first groups we brought together was the Billings and Peblos. It lasted for about a year, and then something happened. But right around the same time, where Lil Doc was bringing the East Coast and Florencia. Matter of fact, the last night they came together, we had met with the Billings and Peblos, and nah, they just don't like each other. But they're different than the Treetops and the Fruit Towns because they will sit and talk and they'll stop shooting. Will they still diss each other? Man, you'll see it all on Instagram. You'll see it on the walls. You'll see it, but they stopped killing each other. That's all we wanted is please don't kill them. So they're growing up with this hatred, the youngsters from Peblos, the youngsters from Villains. But yeah, they've sat down and talked several times. And I want to say the right people too. I want y'all to know that it was the right people that sat down. Let me see here. What's the worst Crip and Crip beef? Of course, y'all know the worst Crip on Crip beef has always been the Rolling 60s and the 8 trays because it started in 79. It started early. And to this day, they don't get along. And if given the opportunity, they will kill each other. But it led to something else. It led to the neighborhood Crips not liking the 8 trays. So it started with the 60s, but then it went to the 90s, the hundreds, um, even the East Coast, whatever's aligned with neighborhood. It yeah, it fucked it up. That neighborhood car didn't get along with gangsters, and then of course the 8 trays led to other shit, led to 5 trays, led to trays. Even in Altadena, they're considered trays. The Altadena Block Crips are trays. So it kind of separated black people on beef that they didn't even have. It's just beef that we don't need. Did I know half ounce? Yes, indeed. When I first started this going live, I was talking about how me, half ounce, and Mitchie Slick, Compton Menace, we did a movie called Baby Gangster, the movie. So y'all look it up. Um, I got Alex Alonso on here. Street TV said NHP started in 1981. I'm glad you said that, because I know the people who started, but I didn't know what year it was. That's a good thing. Yeah. Y'all log on to Street TV too, man. He got FG with him, Alex Alonso. I'm gonna tell y'all about Alex Alonso. He don't like me telling y'all, but when I got out of prison, 1988, he was sitting on Rocky's porch. He was right there, man. So, this dude went to USC and all these other schools. He teaches, but he really is a community member. No question. I think he just moved out the community last year, and then he moved back. So I don't know, but he's all around. R.I.P. Lil B Rock from 20s. Yes, indeed. When I got out in '88, there was this tall, skinny dude and a real short dude, and it was Baby One Punch, no, Lil One Punch and Lil B Rock. They put them on 20s. I was like, look at these dudes, man. We was on 15th and 5th Ave, hanging out on Pico at the laundromat, up and down Bronson, Norton, over that way. Uh, yeah, that's my guy, Lil B Rock. Brandon Stubblefield, that's my guy. Where the NHP's called Hyde Park Boys and or Roger Park Boys. You know what? Um, I know Underdog and his brother and all them, and they was telling me that it was something else. I'm thinking it was Rogers Park Boys. I don't think they was the Hyde Park Boys. I think Hyde Park Boys might have been closer to Centinela Park. I think they might have been the Rogers Park Boys, because they was something else where it was before it was NHP. And then of course the Centinela Park families came all the way over there as well. What's my thoughts on the PMP Rock situation, man? I don't know. Father who would tell his 17-year-old son, go ahead and hit that lick, and I'm gonna wait for you. I got a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old son, and they nothing nice. They horrible. I ain't gonna lie. One of them, they both disrespectful. You know what I mean? And if we was ever in the car and they was like, "Hey, pops, I'm about to get out and do this," man, I'm gonna whoop their ass. I'm gonna whoop their ass. And even if they jump me, man, I'm just gonna get jumped by my kids before I let them go kill somebody over some jewelry. I'd rather do that. You know what I mean? So I think that was a messed up situation. But I also want to say on the PNB Rock situation is, if we've been killing each other since the 1970s, when they killed Robert Ballou, and the Crips started and all that. But we've been dying since then. We've been killing each other over red rags, Nissan trucks, drugs. We've been killing each other over hats. What you say on a hat, where you stay, where your mama say, looking at tattoos, and getting out on people, raising a shirt, no jewelry on, just raise your shirt, and so I can see your tattoos. If we've been killing over stuff like that, why would you come here with 100,000 or 50,000 worth of jewelry? Because we didn't kill each other for a lot less. We done killed each other because somebody stole my car or crashed the party or whatever. So man, LA is not the place to play with. OG Frog from Bounty Hunter, yes indeed. I know him, but I can't say I knew him back in the days. I met OG Frog about a year and a half ago. We was talking about doing something together. Yeah, ain't nobody winning this gang genocide. When Lil B Rock died, I'm gonna tell you when. It was 2013. I can't forget it. I was in Atlanta at the time. I got the phone call that he didn't die. He got killed. You remember car chasing Pat ever? Nah, man. Pat didn't run often in his heyday. When he got older, he started running because everybody was after him. But Shit, man, Pat was always in the sun. But if you chasing Pat, Pat was gonna shoot back, especially at Mount Vernon. If we all hanging out at the monument, or even if he's by himself, I'm gonna tell you about Pat. I don't know who this is, Junior One, but Pat was a gangster. I used to go through things, and I would call Pat, and Pat's showing up. He got a gun, he ready to fight, he got a bat, whatever. We'd ride our bikes to LA High, and Pat would be on the handlebars. He ready to go. Pat was always ready to go, and something bad happened to Pat. And I'm gonna speak on it now because he rest in peace. But something bad happened to Pat in the LA County Jail, and he it changed his life forever. And people was telling him, "You're not from 20s no more. You got to get off 20s." He gave in. He stopped fighting when he was in jail. But before that happened to Pat, 1981, 82, all that, Pat was a gangster. Pat was a gangster all the way up to 86. Uh, yeah, he should have. He should have had dinner in Beverly Hills. He was skipping 45, St. Louis, my life, man. Yes, since the internet. Yes, indeed. I appreciate everybody telling me I appreciate what I'm doing. A lot of people don't. Yep, a lot of people don't appreciate you. Dungeon talk. That means you in Georgia somewhere. You're in the dungeon. Five Trey Avalon versus the four Trey Gangsta Crip. First Crip beef. Cartoon from mentioned that their conflict started a bit before the 60th birthday. Okay, so I'm not knowing that. Appreciate that, Jerry G. I spoke to Cartoon once, so I'm starting to meet these guys. I ain't never had a conversation like I did with Frog until last year. And shit, me and Cartoon just swapped numbers and we still ain't talked. So yeah, I can learn a lot from him as well. I'm only speaking on the 60s and 8 trade because I lived at 1611 West 66th Street. And my mother decided in 77 to move to 6137 South Crenshaw Boulevard. So I've seen what they was doing. Do you know the origins of 29th Street set? If you're talking about from the 20s, that is going to be my homeboy Dez, his brother Zigzag. Shit, a lot of people over there, but I think Dez is the one who wanted to be 29th Street. It's the same to me as the Fruitown Brims. Fruitown Brims, 29th Street, everybody mixed together. My homeboy Spook, Sean Jones, shit, a lot of people, man. Big Flash, Lil Flash, from 20s. There's a number of them. The Belizean homie who had the car, had the shop that was fixing on cars. Can't remember his name now, but somebody asked me about him. Yeah, he come off of 29th Street. I've been to his house over there. All right, first time catching me live. Flipping and locking, yes, sir. Grew up on, yeah, of course. Everybody know Billy Hurd, man. Billy Hurd, rest in peace, man. He was one of the first ones killed off of Adams. Well, he was really killed on Washington at the swap meet, but off of the 18th Street and the blood beef. I can't even say BPS, even though that's what it was, but it turned out to be all the Bloods. And the 20s and Outlaws, the same gang. So everybody got their different influences. But on the east side, it's the Rolling 20s and the Outlaws came together. On the west side, it's the Rolling 20s, NHB. So what they call it right now is the in and out. You get it, the ins and out of the Rolling 20s. I say the ins and outs of Adams Boulevard because we go all the way from Alameda to Crenshaw. But I want to say it's the same thing because when we get to jail, get to prison, we the same. You from 20s, you from 20s. On the streets, they had to park together. And I'm like, who is that? And he said, oh, from Outlaws. And same thing in Outlaws is the 20, the NHBs be over there. So, um, yeah, it's the same thing. You ask me, it's just a matter of who's the influence. So, like, if you need me to talk to somebody, I might be like, oh, he from Outlaw. Let me call the homie twin or something to get at him or whatever. Had a girlfriend on, let's see, Wayne High Park, cousin from Baby Takeoff, man. Oh, Baby Taco. Let's say Take, but probably Taco. He used to stay at my house. Yeah, you talking about Quincy, Baby Taco. Yep. Venice Way in Hyde Park. Yep. That's what the 800 block. K Dog from 20s. Yes, indeed. I know K Dog. A squabbler, straight up squabbler. and major squabble. If you don't know like what you're doing, we all know they not for peace and our people. Yes, indeed. That's right, Blue Jay. Salute from South Florida. Hyde Park Boys turned NHP and moved to Victor. Okay, all right. Now, I know a lot of people on Victor. You know, on Victor, that's where Big Taco and his mama live. And I got family over there right now. So yeah, Victor was a street back in the day. Yeah, I'm glad to be alive and well too. Yeah, yeah, it was scary and violent. I thought I was gonna die in '88. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Baby Scoop from Fruitown Brand. I can't think of who that is. Baby Scoop. And I be sitting here. I be telling people all the time. Nah, I don't know them. I don't know them. And then as soon as they walk up, like somebody might say, "Hey man, you know Baby Scoop," and I'll be like, "Nah, not really." And then somebody will walk up and I'll say, "Oh, they go to homie," and I go to hug them, and they'll be like, "Man, so you do know him?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's the homie." And I'll be like, "Well, that's Baby Scoop." So I want to say right now, I can't think of who it is, but shit, I probably know him well, and just call him something else. Little Doc is at, I don't know if they moved him yet. Little Doc was at um, Metropolitan Detention Center, downtown LA, federal custody. I'm sure he's probably by now he's gone to uh, El Reno or wherever they designate him at. So I know back in the days everybody used to go to El Reno, um, and from there they would figure out whether they're going to Leavenworth, Texas, or coming back out here for Lompoc or something like that. So I really don't know where he is right now, but I know he's going to get designated to see where he got to go. I always thought West Adams was Mid City because it's close to the city. No, so back in the days, Mid City had the had some Rolling Twenties, some Bloods. They was called Midtown Families. And remember, before they was Rolling Twenties, we had Hoover Families, so they was connected. But Mid City is not West Adams. Do you see the 20s and 30s ever having peace? Yes. So we've been at peace. There might be something that kicks off when they see each other, but we're not at war the way we were. We was at war like daily. We was at war daily. They're not like that no more. Matter of fact, the dudes that I was at war with, we all doing the same work, and we working with each other's kids. Athens Parks came to Oklahoma in the early '80s, influence of Red, Reppin' Blood. Crips are already there. Yeah, I remember the Crips in Oklahoma. I had some people from IVC was selling water out there. And people from Watson, they that Grape Streets and IVCs were together. What up, big dog? Camp God. Yes, indeed. R.I.P. Miss Vicky. Talking about Vicky Lindsay. Grew up in New Park. Lived directly across the street from the park. She was my mentor for years. I used to call her my grandmother. She used to always want to tell me what to do. And I used to say, look, even though she was only like 6, 7 years older than me, I used to be like, man, stop telling me what to do. But I miss her. Love Vicky Lindsay. I was in my birthday. I was in West either LA, San Diego, really both. We're there 2 hours apart. Man, look, it's 2 hours from San Diego to LA. You could do both. I don't know how his spirits is, man. Doc, Doc don't emote. Doc act like he don't give a shit about nothing. Like it'll be all right. I was sitting in front of his mother in court, and he was more concerned about her than he was himself. Something, Little Frog from Queen Street. Uh, no, I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, Little Frog. That's the red one. Shit, I got his number. I talk to Little Frog all the time. Yeah, I don't think. I'm trying to figure out the frog I be dealing with. I think he is a little frog, a little red colored, who be doing the spoken word. Damn, yeah, I wouldn't want to be in Colorado. They might. You're absolutely right. Instead of Leavenworth, they might put Doc in Colorado. Young ladies got killed in Inglewood. Oh, you talking about? Yeah, I talk to their mother all the time. No, they're not putting a reward out for them or nothing, man. To my lady SK and her sister. Okay, so if Little Frog is locked up, then I know Big Frog. Little Frog ain't. Well, the frog I know is not locked up. Frog I know is said he. I seen him about maybe a month ago. I said he's kind of hard to define. Blanket term includes other areas loosely from Vermont to Fairfax. Nah, we wouldn't call Mid City Vermont. Fairfax, yes. Wilshire, yes. Yeah, even I wouldn't even say Adams. I would go north of the 10 freeway. North of the 10 freeway. Of course, I remember Mad Mike from Villain. He's actually Saint from 20s. Mad Mike from Villain. He was 8, 9 years old when he moved on Third Ave between what was that, Washington and 17th Street. Or damn, no, he lived on 18th Street. He lived on 18th Street in the hood when he was young, and then he did something and went to jail. But he was from Villain, but shit, he was really from 20s as well. So the 20s and the Villains are like brothers. I mean, we could argue, we could fight, but it ain't gonna last. We the same, really, too. It's a lot of camaraderie in the blood neighborhood. Yeah, south of Mid City is straight gang banging. I agree. Even Mid City though, I can't count out the Mansfields, the Marvins, the Playboy gangsters, the schoolyards. The schoolyards was probably, for me, they were the worst because they were actively coming trying to kill me. So shit, that was the worst I encountered. So yeah, I'm not taking nothing from Mid City. Okay, I see. Yep. Okay, so we got Alex still on, man. Alex watching. Mid City is from Western East to Crenshaw West. Nah, from Pico to Washington. Come on, Alex, man. You can't be right because Mid City is like where Bo Taylor lived, the skating ring, World on Wheels. Mid City is La Brea. Mid City is Queen Anne Park. That's all Mid City, unless you talking about, unless, I don't know, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe y'all talking about the Mid City Stoners, the gang, the group that come from Vermont to like Western. I don't know. You said that's Supermax. I've been in Supermax. Been in East Max. I've been in North. I hate you on Instagram. I'm Charles. Went to school. Charles went to school with who? He don't remember me, Little Frog, and Short and Light Brown. He did that spoken word video. Okay, yeah. So now he not in jail. We talking about the same person. Okay, that's Little Frog. Now he ain't in jail. He out. Never told you she was just coming your way talking to you and talking with Vicky played a positive role and I'm moving now. Shout out to Pam for getting me out to the. Who is this? Campanella God. Okay, I got the Camp God now. So that's somebody from Campanella Park. Yes, indeed, man. I appreciate that. Um, yeah, I keep doing what I do. So I'm glad that. I hope this is my little partner, man. I got to tell the story about that. So back in the days, back 2008, I used to do life skills with a group of young Pyrus, right? So I was telling them, man, that at some point, one of y'all got to be the dead homie. One of y'all got to go to jail for life. Yep, Lil Kenny. One of y'all got to be the dead homie. One of y'all got to be in jail for life. One of y'all got to get beat up. So Lil Johnny said, "Oh, I'll get beat up. I don't care about that." I think that's Lil Dobie, West Side. So then Lil Kenny say, "I don't care about getting shot." And we went around the crowd. My son was in there too. I said, "Well, look, man, you from the east side of LA, but Piru, but it's really, it's called Compton, but it's not, right?" So I said, "Well, you ain't grew up with them, so shit, you probably tell on them if you get caught." And I ain't telling nobody. Everybody was hard. Lil Kenny, like, I don't care. That was about 3, 4 o'clock. About an hour and a half later, I get a phone call. Lil Kenny got shot in the Ujima village. So I got stories about Compton, especially the Campanellas. I lived behind the gate, And I had a girlfriend lived on the L block, same block where Mossberg got across the street from Slick. You guys see Slick a lot on Kev Mac or whatever. So yeah, and Slick and Mossberg got killed at the corner. The homie 40 ounce. First time he got shot, he showed up on her porch, blood just squirting out his neck. And she wasn't home, so her mama had to bandage and whatever, call paramedics. He lived just to be killed on that same block later on. So yeah, a lot of Compton stories. Skating ring, beaches, mountain casinos, Inglewood theme park. I don't see why LA have all that set tripping. Yeah, rest in peace, Reverend. Say Eric Wright, man. It looked like, hope that's a little easy. What's up, little easy? Signing with you. Tell me who CW is. Oh, Charleston White? That's what CW is? Oh, shit, man. Out here, CW is a concealed weapon. And I feel really good about having a concealed weapon. The sheriff out here just allowed a lot of rappers because they said they was getting jacked. The sheriff, and plus he want to get reelected. He was giving out concealed carry permits. So I feel really good about concealed weapons. I don't know anything about Charleston White other than what I see on Instagram and YouTube. And I think that if you want to talk about something, I think that OG Marv, the Ayatollah, and the big homie, um, hitting corners, Melvin Farmer. I think they had an opportunity to really have a conversation and talk some sense into that dude. Um, and I don't know what happened. I guess he thought they was about to get him, but yeah, I think that I don't know if he's doing this just for likes. If he's doing this just because he want to get everybody attention, then he's doing a good job. That's how I feel about Charleston White. If he's doing it for likes or attention, he's great at what he does. But if he really feels that way and he really want to call the police on people instead of getting them help, if he want to, especially saying fuck Nipsey, Raymond Washington, all these different people, it seems like to me that's suicidal. Because the same way they got PNB Rock for the jewelry, man, a lot of people got these dudes' kids and grandkids are still alive. So when he come to LA with that, they gonna want to do something to him. I'm not promoting it. I'm not saying that's the answer, but I would never be disrespectful to dead people. One reason is because that would mean I'm tough on the internet. That's like being a cell soldier. That's like if you get in your bags, you got to roll it up because you about to catch the train, go to the penitentiary, and I'm going home. But I'm on the bars hollering "F you, fuck your neighborhood, fuck your mama," and this and that. But I'm going home in 2, 3 months, and you going to prison for 20, 30 years. That don't make me tough when I say "F you." So that's how I feel about Charleston White. Is he's talking about a lot of dead people and their family still alive. So I don't know if you said CW is Charleston White, but if that's who you're talking about, um, yeah, it wouldn't be no reason for me to talk about him or talk to him unless if he said I'm playing. I'm just kidding. What do you something the East Coast something on East Coast blood? Wait, why not do something on East Coast Bloods? I'm not familiar with him. That's why. There was a dude from New York came out here and asked me one time to give him permission to do something. He said, "Man, we got to get." He didn't say permission, but he said, "Got to get." I forgot the term he used, but in other words, he had to get it sent to him from LA. And he asked me to do something. I'm like, man, you better. This is before Bloodhound went to jail. I said, man, you better call one of them dudes, man. I don't do that. I don't get down with that timeline and tell, let me tell you, man, I got a lot of big homies, but they not all from 20s, man. I got big homies from Inglewood family, man. I got big homies from Hoover family. I got big homies from Compton Pyru. I got big homies from everywhere. I'm gonna listen simply because they bigger than me. But yeah, there ain't no leader and ain't no timeline. I'm not under nothing. When I was in Inglewood, A-Babe was a year older than me, but shit, he said everybody come together, and shit, I came together. Like, what's happening? When I'm in Compton and shit, Sylvia Nunn, Cynthia Nunn was like, oh, we gonna meet at the park, we gonna barbecue. I'm going to the park and barbecuing. I'm listening. I'm paying. When I was in Campanella, man, I'm not from Campanella, but if somebody came through tripping on the Campanellas, then they tripping on me too. So it's not like it's a leader. It's like, you know, I don't know, but that's how it is on the East Coast. The Bloods on the East Coast, they got leadership and they got timelines, and I can't buy into that. That's what got Mad Ronald in jail right now. You know, okay, yeah, I got it. Asiatic didn't want to say his name. Yeah, okay, my bad, man, my bad. Yeah, I don't even know him, man. I don't know him. I do know Marv, and I do know my guy Melvin Farmer. I know them well. Spend a lot of time with them, and so I'll say their names. That I think that was a missed opportunity. What's going on, colorblind man? If y'all see this colorblind right here, I want y'all say colorblind underscore Woods away. I want y'all to go on the Instagram and follow him, colorblind underscore Woods way. He gave me a sweatshirt that said Balenciaga, and the B was with the B red, and the C in it was with a C, the fingers of a C, and it was blue. Everything he does is for both sides, and that's why the hashtag right there says love both sides. Man, if I'm freezing up, forgive me, y'all. I got this, like my uncle Maurice got kids from every hood. Mom used to send me to LA in the summer. Yep, I do got a lot of kids. So I got 12 kids, 17 grandkids, and 4 great grandkids. So I had a baby. I'm gonna call her Moosey. I ain't gonna call her real name. But her family grew up in the mob. They grew up on as Esmeralda. So that's when it was Ludus Park Mob, and I got a baby by her. Um, my first baby mama, she's a Bonarise, grew up on Carmona. That's the Marvin Gangsters. That's where her whole family was from. Even though she lived on Hobart, and I trying to keep her alive. When she was 16 years old, she used to try to fight one of my homeboys, baby mama wife. Um, shit, got a baby. Shit, come off 27th and Dalton, 2651. Got 2 kids by her. I got a baby, a daughter by homegirl come off of Inglewood. She grew up where the 9-4 Inglewood families are, but most of her dealings was with Queen Street. So that's how back in the days I'm at the Queen Streets too. I was always going over there, chasing her. Got a baby by Taco from Villain. I got a baby by his sister. Um, Shit, who did I leave out? I got kids. Just know that I got kids, man. Yes, indeed. I got kids from everywhere. Yep, I agree. Sanction, that's the word. Thank you, Kat. I appreciate that. That's what he told me. He said, man, I got to get sanctioned by you. And I said, man, you're not going to get sanctioned by me. No disrespect, but I'm going to give you somebody you could talk to. Yep, he wanted me to sanction his gangs. So, yeah, I didn't want to do that. I appreciate that. Cat paying attention, man. Yeah. Let me see. Pushing unity in our community. Yeah, but stay busy. Ain't no updates on Matt Ronald right now. I said that earlier that I'm not really sure what they doing. He ain't called me in a minute. I don't know if he going to court or what's going on. Um, Shit, I was supposed to hear from his attorney. His attorney never called me. Uh, yeah, yeah. So East Point is a violent part of Georgia. Family. Trying to see if I missed anything. I was waiting on Alex Alonso to get back at me with what he was talking about when he said that. Okay, now I see it. Other side of Crenshaw is called Midtown. Why is there stigma when it comes to the east side of South Central compared to the west side? So the east side of South Central was the heart of the black community back in the 1960s. So that's also where the the Crips started. And every neighborhood on that east side is kind of close together and not as big. The only big neighborhoods are the East Coast, the way they go up and down, um, Avalon, San Pedro, all that. But most of the gangs, man, they got a park and smaller areas. The West Side, the jungles is big. The West Side, the 20s is major. The West Side, the 30s is huge. The West Side 40s is probably the biggest. If not, they go from the freeway, Figueroa, all the way to Crenshaw. I mean, the 60s, shit, they probably the biggest hood from Inglewood families is super big. So the West Side got big areas, big neighborhoods. The East Side, they close together. They got one liquor store. They got one school. They got one supermarket. They got one Popeye's chicken. Imagine that. They got one Popeye's chicken. They got that one Jack in the Box. Unless you go the other way and you go into Wilmington, which is other groups, Mona Park, Carver Park. And so you got more people coming in one area. Not just that, you got the Imperial Courts, and after the Imperial Courts is the ten line, and you got the one ways, the Colonial Watts, and man, you got so much going on the east side. As soon as you leave the 8-9 East Coast, you pretty much cross the bridge, not the freeway, cross the bridge, and you in damn, it ain't Bebop, but who be the Bishops. So it's like get to 92nd Street. It's the same thing, man. It's the start of the Compton Avenue Crips this way. Go that way. It's the Hat Gang. As soon as you pass the street for the Hat Gang, you're now in the heart of bebops, man. So it's easier to get caught slipping when you live 3-4 blocks away from your enemy. That's why the East Side is so treacherous. What liquor store do you stop at? What Louisiana chicken do you stop at? So even the eight trays is big. You got the North Side, the West Side. You got by the park. So it's not as big as some of the other groups, but there's so much more room on the west side. You can put your guard down in the backyard on the west side. On the east side, you can't put your guard down because the other side of that fence belongs to somebody else, and they might want to hop the fence and shoot you. So it's man, that's why I always take my phone and I film how certain intersections connect different groups. But every time I do that, all them neighborhoods be calling like, "Why you say that's our liquor store? That's their liquor store," and all that type of stuff. And hey, man, you said this is where our block start, but our block don't start here. It start 4 houses down that way. I'm like, man, I might be off 4 houses. You know what I mean? I might be off a little bit, but I just want to show that these areas are dangerous. It's not to highlight where your mama live or where somebody's sister live or nothing like that. I be wanting to highlight, man, that you can get dead. And I've been putting these videos out, and PNB Rock and other people, Pop Smoke and all them, they haven't been paying attention, but you can get dead in LA, and it just don't make no sense to come out here to get dead. Um, and that's why the east side is much more treacherous than the west side because you have room. It ain't saying the dudes are any softer. They got the same guns, same mentality. I used to look at the 190s, the East Coast of Del Amo. These dudes got 2-story houses. They got fine sisters. Their mamas was young. They got big screen TVs in their room. And I go to the Cabbage Patch, and it's the same thing. These dudes is living large, got mom and dad at home, but go in the garage and they got all kind of assault rifles and all that, right? So even though you got a lot of room but these dudes still they. I had a homeboy from Cabbage Patch had a rocket launcher. He had a real rocket launcher. So I mean, so the east side and west side, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of neighborhoods, but even on the west side, um, shit, it's the mentality. It's still the same as the east side. It's just room to go get something to eat or go to school or something. Appreciate that. Somebody said blessings, keep up the good work. The Mad Swans, family swan bloods, are the largest on the east side. Yeah, they got a lot of room. Yep, they got a lot of room. Okay, somebody say, why are the Queen Streets called Bloods, but they were created or sanctioned by NHP? They were not. They were not created by NHP. The Queen Streets was started by a group of brothers. These brothers were playing together. I'm gonna call them by their hood names, Rat and Beapone, are brothers. Um, He-Man, Gangster. It's about four of them. I can't remember all their names, but it's four of them. He-Man brother, Gangster brother, and the other two brothers. Um, Psycho and Slim, they brothers. So Queen Streets was started by brothers. Um, Everybody talk about Dulo from NHP. Um, Dulo was hanging with them. Squeak Roo was hanging with them. They weren't. We don't even use the term sanction, so get that out the vocabulary. But it was just they want to be their own entity. Dollar Bill and his brother Smurf. Dollar Bill really, a lot of people say he started it, but Dollar Bill was probably the most famous person. He squabbled, fought for that to make sure that they weren't Inglewood families or NHPs. Um, that's Dollar Bill's claim to fame. He got killed in '93. Um, yeah, that was my guy. Yeah, so no, it wasn't no sanction or nothing like that. It's not the East Side. I mean, not the East Coast. I do not keep in contact with Bloodhound. I talked to him about 4 or 5 years ago on Facebook. Um, Let me see. Where's your super chat? I don't know what that is. Yeah, they got one Popeyes. Um, Keep up the good work. East side, nothing to do but bang. No movie theater, skating rinks, nice parks, activities. So, yeah, so most of the projects got their own parks. The Imperial Courts has a newly designed rec center. The Jordan Downs have their own. Nickerson Gordons have their own. They keep forgetting what they call the Gonzagas, which is really the Hacienda Village. They leave them out of a lot because their community. Oh, well, they do got the park on 109th. I forgot. They go there, but that's a whole different neighborhood too. That's more like bounty hunters on the streets. I forgot what they called them. Um, but yeah, so if you look at it like that, then Front Street Watts, Back Street Watts don't have a park. 9/7s don't have a park. Um, so yeah, there's no movie theater. You can't have a movie theater or skating ring over there. Nah, how would you keep the peace? You wouldn't be able to keep the peace with that. Yeah, Eastside small, Watts small, Compton small. Compton pretty big though. Um, yep, I agree. Up and Dub. Have not heard from Lil Doc. Oceanside Love. Although I haven't been. Look at LA map and see the game map too. What's the difference between Mad Swan and Family Swans? Are they together? Yep. So what originally started was the Neighborhood Family, NHF, Neighborhood Family. And from the Neighborhood Family, they were south of Manchester, like around 88th Street, 89th Street, all the way 92nd, maybe a little further. But what happened is they had the Mad Swan Bloods as well. They linked and became together and became the Family Swans. There were other groups that did it too in the 90s. Um, Mafia Lanes. Mafia Lanes came together in the 90s as well. There's a lot of groups that pulled themselves together. Um, but yep, so the Family Swans is the neighborhood family. and the Mad Swan Bloods. But they still section themselves off by streets, which doesn't help at all because when people say, "Oh, I'm from this, I'm from 8-4, I'm from 7-7," but they've also teamed up with the Inglewood family, so it's all really the same from the west side to the east side. So that makes them a whole lot bigger, you know. But sometimes it's different streets, you know. Yeah, I think they were Queen Street Block Hustlers and some were Rogers Park Boys. No. So if you're talking about the Queen Streets, they weren't around during the Rogers Park Boys. The Queen Street started about 84, 85. 1984, 1985 is when the Queen Street started. So Rogers Park Boys was already over with. Um, yeah, so that's different times. Yep, yep, yep. Yes, they are together. 12 lost tribes. Do y'all have a bond with the Swans? I do. I talk to them almost daily. My building is in their area. So I'm either with Psych or on the phone with Psych at least once a week. On the phone with Ragtime, his brother, Big Time, should be getting out soon. Um, Shit, I had an issue with a young dude from Swans this week, and I had to call the homie MD. I asked MD, could he talk to the youngster? Um, so yeah, I'm talking to the Swans daily. Right, so there's no Roscoe's and Watts. So Manchester and Maine, that's still South LA. So Manchester and Maine, if I go south on Manchester and Maine, I'm in the 8-7s. However, as soon as I pass a certain block, I'm being the main. Well, matter of fact, if I go north to the east, that's the 8-4 Main Street. So they hood kind of stopped right there at Manchester. Now the 8-7s is going south. But then the main streets pick back up again around 92nd or somewhere around there. I don't want to say the wrong thing, they get mad. But also, if I go north to the east, I'm being the Swans. If I go north and stay on the south side of Manchester, I'm gonna be in the Avalon Gardens, the 8-9s, or are they 8-9s or 8-8s? I don't know, but they got 8-8s and 8-9s over there and 8-7s. So pick a street and shit, you could die on either one of them streets, man. If you're not from around there, don't know them or say the wrong thing. So yeah, it's too much going on. And then as soon as you go from on Manchester and I go back to Broadway, even though it's supposed to be main streets or whatever, the Hoovers come across that bridge. The Hoovers on Broadway too. I mean, they may not have spots there, but they damn sure got spots by 90 something, by 93rd, 94th. Is Hoovers. And going northbound, it's going to be Swans that way. That's where the 7-7 Swans is north of, was that probably north of 83rd. So the Swans and the A trays, even on 83rd Street. So you got main streets, Hoovers and Swans all in the same place. You come the other way, it's Swans and excuse me, you got 8-7s and man, it don't pay to be over there, man. At least in Inglewood, it's the Inglewood, Roscoe's, it's the Queen Street neighborhood. You're right there in Queen Street. Um, and it's not, if somebody's targeting somebody, that's one thing, but it's just not as cluttered like that. It's just not cluttered with all them different gangs. What happened to OG Pee Wee from NHP? I don't know. Pee Wee's around, I think. I don't know. Pee Wee. Let me see. Oh no, Pee Wee died. Yeah, you talking about yeah, Pee Wee was a gangster, man. He died. I don't know what he died from though. Yeah, Pee Wee died. Little Spider, Big Spider, that was their crew, man. Um, Pee Wee was a gangster. He was from NHP and he went to juvenile hall, went to the camps, and the dudes from Compton was like, "Man, you ain't from NHP," and he had to get down. He had to fight to make it clear that there's an Inglewood version of NHP. Ain't got nothing to do with them. So that's like even though he's younger than me, man, or he was younger than me, um, yeah, he was a straight rider. He was a fighter, no question. See, I'm looking where I leave off at. I don't know what he died from, but Spider got killed. Little Spider got killed. Big Spider died of COVID. Them was the three road dogs. They was with each other all day, every day. Yep, Miller Athens connected as well. Yeah, when I was talking about different people connect. Um, no, I don't know nothing about what happened to Sad Dog. And no, A Trays is not the biggest set in LA. Not as far as turf or as far as people. I think the Jungles might be. Jungles in the '60s always had more people. East Coast always had more people than A Trays. Bloodstone Pyrus and Bitcoin Pyrus. Only Pyru Bloods. Well, see, that's the thing. Everybody's the same, in my opinion. Everybody the same, man. It ain't no difference between the Pyru and the Blood. Ain't for me because it's the same thing. You know, everybody on the east side hang out together. So the 30 Pyrus hang out with the villains. The 30 Pyrus hang out with the All for Crime. All for Crime used to be All for Crime used to be the 40 Pyrus, but they right there with the 20 Outlaws. So everybody's the same. It ain't the 30 Pyrus and 20 Outlaws grew up together. That's the same blocks right there north of Jefferson, 27th Street, 32nd Street. You know, over off of Central, or shit off of Griffith, off of Stanford, Naomi, Compton. It's all the same. And so when people came shooting at them, they didn't stop and say, "I'm only shooting Pyrus. I'm gonna shoot anybody out here." And that's why I don't get. There's no difference in a Pyru and a Blood. Um, yeah, I think the only thing was with the two P's and the B, and I ain't sure about it, but they were Pacoima Project Boys. That's where the two P's and the B come from, Pacoima Project Boys. And then later in the '80s, they changed it to Pacoima Pyru Bloods. And they caught hell from that in the prison. Like, is you a Pyru or is you a Blood? And to me, that's crazy. Because when the police come, they not asking. They're not asking nothing. Um, I don't want y'all to know I can't see with these glasses on. I can't see with them off either. So y'all asking me some questions, but I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna answer this stuff. You know, uh, I gotta see it first. Why do people say the Circle City Pyrus are small? What do you consider small? Well, you got to figure the Circle City sits behind the Hacienda projects. So between Central and the Hacienda projects, it's a circle. So shit, they played their role. They so important, but at the same time, um, shit, they not as big as other neighborhoods, you know. But Circle City definitely in Watts, Mo like Watts. You right there on Central with his El Camino that said Mo like Watts. So they was front line. They was definitely front line. All right, the 30 and 40 pound rules. 40 pound rules is gone. They all for crime now. How do you feel about gang lines like ETD and IF and Fig rolling? Seems like only the West Side does this. You know what? I really like, and I tipped my hat. I had a homeboy, Big Bemby, Heavy D, whatever we called him, from Inglewood family that lived in the A Tray hood, and he would always invite people to his house. And I'd be like, man, this ain't cool. You got dudes really out here banging. I was a tow truck driver at the time. But he was like, it's cool, it's cool. And he would have dudes from A Tray come over. So I don't know who built that alliance. I want to think it's him, but I might be wrong. So I'm not going to say that. But I was glad to see that alliance. But people started saying, so I went to jail in 2004, and some people started saying, Sue Whoop moving and grooving. Sue Whoop moving and grooving. So when I got out of jail, I said, man, that ain't true. That was just in jail. But ain't nobody meeting up on the streets, going together to kill nobody from rolling or neighborhood or whatever. And some people saying, yes, they are, yes, that. But I never seen that. So I was happy that the IFs and ETGs stopped their beef. because that was one of the first Crip and Bloods. Before it was Inglewood Family, it was Chain Gang. Before it was A-Tray Gangster, it was just Crips. So I'm glad they stopped that. But when you got to the Fig Rolling, um, some shit happened one night, the damn concert they had, and it wasn't appreciated, and motherfuckers was disrespectful to each other. And then later on that night, people got killed, and the very next day, my homeboy Clayron got killed. So I got my own personal feelings about it, but um, I think at some point we got to stop killing each other, and we got to accept the fact if these dudes said they ain't gonna kill each other, then hold on, maybe we don't have to kill each other either. So let's use that as an example. Yep. So exactly, Compton got his own city, his own mayor. Emma Sharif is the mayor. Watts is a section of LA. So back in the 1930s, Watts was about to vote for a mayor, and they were going to have a black mayor in the city of Watts, and the city of LA bought the city just so they wouldn't have a black mayor. So Watts is no longer a city. It hasn't been a city since the late 1930s, before the World War II. Watts became a community, just like Venice. Venice and LA is not a city; it's a community. Um, So yeah, I don't know who you was explaining that to, but you're absolutely right. Uh, it said grapes, apples, oranges. There's an East Side Alliance and the Avalon and Pueblos. I'm gonna tell you this. Let me tell you the history of Compton. That the fruit town is named cherries, apples, and all that because they really have fruit trees right there. So if you look at Compton, the fruit town area, it was farms and they were having those different trees. That's why they call it fruit town. And the tree top Pyru, those are farms as well. So they're named after really what happened. If you think about Elm Street Pyru, if you think about the Acacia Block Crips, these is trees. These is all trees, man. This is what was in. If you look at the Cabbage Patch Pyrus, my father told me that that part of Carson had a whole bunch of cabbage patches back in the 50s. So when we look at these things, um, these neighborhoods is really named after the elm tree, the cedar block tree, the acacia tree, the fruit towns, the treetops. They're just imitating what was in Compton before the gangs hit there. But I don't know about the Avalons and Pueblos doing that. What's the biggest Pyru hood today? I want to say the West Side, if I had to. And I'm not talking about the people, I'm just talking about the area. They got the Deuce line, the Faux line, they got the other side of the canal, and they done teamed up, West Side Campanella. So, shit, at some point you can't tell them apart. And they damn sure sticking together. Oh, they get mad because you got their street messed up. I don't know, man. People look for a reason to be mad at me, but I still hit the block with my tennis shoes on. The Black Pea Stones from the jungles identify as Brim. Not at all. As a matter of fact, the Blackstones and Brims had a war that a lot of people don't know about. Lasted for a few years, and Terry Cadeau and Mustafa Fats from Swans and T. Rogers, Shell Dog, a few other people made it in. It was at the time when Bop and what's my guy name? Bop and Cass Capone were both in jail. They was in prison, so there was really like only leadership was kind of scarce. Shit, all of them went to prison same time. Fat Rat went to prison. Bop went to prison. Blaster was in prison. Cass Capone was in prison. Those are names that ring bells over there, and they all went to prison same time. So you got people like the homie Tone, who's over there now, Shell Dog, who keep gloves in his pocket in case somebody say something slick. He'll say, "Well, let's get down." Wow, Athens, Grape, and Hoovers. I've never heard of that. Yes, the Franklin Squares are still around. If you guys know Cheetah, she was on the street TV. Says she's one of the original Criplets. Well, Cheetah was actually born Donna Franklin. Her father, her father developed that area and built them houses in the '70s, and the Franklin Square Crips are named after her father. That gang small was, yeah. All right, I'm gonna take about a couple more, man. I gotta get off, man. Everybody killing me. I'm supposed to be going to eat dinner. Big time coming home soon. Yes. No, Ragtime is home. Ragtime already home. I talked to Ragtime yesterday. Big time. Barry, his brother, he's coming home soon. Um, LB from Westside Piru was out here. I didn't get to talk to him. I had an event August 27th. He came out here and went to a barbecue that Cynthia Nunn and Marcus Nunn put together. And I didn't get the opportunity to talk to him. I missed that. Uh, I don't know Bass. Dig Dug called me about a month ago. He's in the IE and the Inland Empire. Like, but North Carolina now. Young dudes out here claiming New York bloods. All right, so anybody that got them young dudes claiming them bloods, man, tell them it ain't cool. Tell them it ain't cool. It ain't cool to claim the bloods, man. It ain't cool to claim the bloods. So, but anyway, y'all, I'm gonna get off this line. I gotta go. Shit, man. Everybody else do it, so I'm gonna do it too. Put my cash app up there, man. If y'all want to see me do this more often, man, send me something, man. Look out for your boy, man. I don't be asking for money, but get people to subscribe, man. I can get money if I get more viewers, man. So get people to subscribe, man. I appreciate y'all spending this hour and a half with me, man. I want to do this for about 20, 30 minutes, man. And y'all got to ask some questions, man. The farm dogs. Oh, let me tell you about the farm dogs. I see that. Who is Brandon Terry? But let me tell you about the farm dogs, man. So in Compton, remember, it used to be farms out there, and that's why they called the farm dogs. So these dudes, these Crips, call themselves the farm dogs, but they growing up in like plantation style homes. So the farm dogs, they got property. They don't have houses sitting next to each other. They got horses. They got a ranch in the back. They got chickens. They got pigs. They got goats and all kind of shit. So the farm dogs in Compton, man, I can't say they got a lot of money, but their parents and grandparents had money because they just blocked off their little area. And let me tell you, I know the Vines, Ronnie Vine, Kenny Vine, Renee Vine. They all I met them at the skating ring of Rosecrans back in the days, the Vine brothers. So I know KO, Kenny Owens, and all them from the farm. Farm dogs always been solid. We got a family out there called the Evans family, and their family moved to Inglewood back in the early '60s, '70s, and they became IVCs. And I spent a lot of time with them back in the early days, going to school and stuff. So I know a lot of the IVCs, and their family came from the farm. So I would go over there with them, man, and they got horses and chickens and all kind of shit. So yep, Skip, did Money Mike bang with IVC before the '60s? Not at all. Money Mike never claimed IVC. He was Mickey, and he was just, he didn't bang with them dudes. He was he was he was a gangster. He was a gang by himself. When Mickey would hit the corner, shit, motherfuckers would go. I mean, there was only a couple people he dealt with. He dealt with the Smith family, with Clint Smith and Larry Smith, TT, which is both on them brothers. He didn't deal with a lot of people because he was on a different level. He was already he was already shit. He was above. He was before his time. He really didn't need a gang. I don't know what happened when he joined in with the '60s or whatever and became Money Mike, but he didn't need it. He was a force by himself. I could speak on shit now because he's dead, but man, he done made a lot of families cry. A lot of people was like, "Oh, what happened?" Money Mike, or Mickey did something to your loved one, because he wasn't no joke. He really wasn't no joke. Um, yep. So yeah, let me. All right, y'all. I appreciate it. Little Loco from Fruitown. No Little Loco. And like I said, I'm gonna sit here and say I don't know Little Loco. And as soon as I get off, I'm gonna start crying. Like, damn, Little Loco died. So yeah. All right. Appreciate y'all. Love, peace, and hair grease. This is my hour and a half. I'm gone. All right, y'all.